5. I keep making it longer, but I initially said it was a 4-week class. Now I'm up to 5 or 6 weeks, and so I'm designing it to be at least a 5-week class. So we'll meet every week, and each week we'll go deeper and deeper and deeper into the whole idea or concept of investing. Okay, so what you're being given at this point is a two handouts. One is just a handout for you to take notes. That's it. The other is a quiz that I want everyone to take right quick. Okay? So one is just to take notes, the other is a quiz. Okay. All right. So as soon as you get your quiz, go ahead and start. And go ahead and take it. It should be self explanatory. And it should be self explanatory in the sense of when you get to the end, what to do at the end. Okay? Now, mind you, as you come each week, what you'll probably want to do is bring a folder or some kind of binder with you so that you can put your materials inside because you will be getting some materials that we'll print out and make available to everybody. All right? So you don't want to just fold this up and put it in your Bible or in your purse or in your pocket, right? You want to make sure that you have some place to put it so that you can reference it when you need. Oh, it's there. There we go. Okay, cooking with gas. Do. Okay, good. That's the extras. Okay, cool, cool. Right? Anybody finished? Okay. All right. So let me know when you finish. Huh? You don't have an answer for 6? Okay. All right. So if you don't have an answer for 6, just mark the last one.
So you said you intend for this to be 5 weeks. Today is week number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you gonna end on Christmas Eve?
Maybe not.
New Year's Eve? That's
I worry about the calendar after the class. I got you. I got you. All right. Anybody else don't have an answer for any one of the questions?
Yep.
Which one?
Two.
For 2?
Two. Yeah, it was six. Yeah.
Okay. If- So any ones that you don't have an answer to, just mark the last one. Right? Unless you're stuck between two
That's
answers.
what I was about to say. We
Okay.
have two answers
Which one, which question?
for number two and number seven.
Okay. Let's do number 7. If you've suffered a financial setback, you which two are you stuck between?
I got the 6 months, but I also do the rely on credit cards.
I would mark the last one on that one. Yeah, I would mark the last one on that one. And there's a reason why I'm saying that, right? But I would mark the last one. And then what was the other one? Number 2? To achieve your financial goals, have funds automatically transferred to an investment account, set aside a certain amount from each paycheck, and put money aside as it becomes available. Which 2?
So the reason why I have difference is because I have set aside a certain amount of each paycheck with the past, and now the present is I put aside when it comes available.
Oh, okay. So currently you're putting aside money as it becomes available. Okay, then I would mark that one. Yeah, if that's the current one. Huh? For number 2? Okay, so which one do you normally do or that you mainly do? They both 50-50. Okay, I would pick 2. Yeah, I would pick 2. Yes, ma'am.
So what if you have? I have one for number two where it's all three. So I marked all three.
Oh, y'all only supposed to mark one in each one.
But they all apply.
Yeah, but the question is which one do you do mostly? Like which
Literally.
equally?
Equally. Outside out they all apply equally. I do all three of them.
Oh, wait. For number 3?
No, not for number three. For number two.
Number 2. Strategic. Okay, hold on. Have funds on make transfer from the account set aside a certain amount from each paycheck. Put money in. Okay, then if you're doing all 3 for number 2, I would pick number 1. Yeah, if you're equally doing all 3 for number 2, I would pick number 1.
I'll pick them. That's fine.
Yeah. But I'm saying that because of what it means. Yeah, and then reduce your financial. Then I would pick number 1 because the other 2 are encompassed in the. Yeah. Okay, got you. Yes.
I do 9%.
What percentage of your so number 3? What percentage do you contribute to retirement? Maximum amount. Wow. Is that so? What? How does that 9% fit into here?
Oh, they match less than 9%.
Okay. So do you do the maximum?
No, I don't do the maximum.
I would pick number 2. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Huh? Hey. Then I would put number 1 for you for that one. Yep. Huh? Oh, for novice? Novice means someone who is not very skilled or brand new to something. Is it? It can be different than beginning, but not. So somebody can be a beginner in something, but not a novice. Novice speaks to the skill set and the ability with which someone has to do something. Yeah, yeah. It can be knowledge as well. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Okay. Um, I would put number two for that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. And so if you go to the back and then you add up your A responses, B responses, and C responses, where did you guys come up? Five? Okay. For which one? If you add up your A, so how, what, five A's. Okay, good. Anybody else have five A's? All right. If you have five A's, raise your hand. All right. Good, good. If you have if you have five or more B's, or up to five, what do you have for B's? Two? Okay. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yes. Okay. All right. Give me one section to wrap this up, and then we'll do that. All right. And then C's. Okay. So for all of you, so let me just ask, where's your strongest number? A? There's seven questions. You can't even up on all seven. Gotcha. B. Okay. A. B. A. A. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yes, ma'am.
She said she got two for each one, so she didn't answer one question, right?
Yeah.
That's what she was.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, what part about like the responses I like getting forward? What is that like? What does that mean?
Say one more time.
I said, what about for the questions that like get forward, like the A responses, the B responses, what does that mean?
Oh, if you don't have five, but you have four?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it all this is designed to do is to help you understand your mindset, how you typically think. Okay? And so the higher you get to five, the more you think in that direction. The lower you get away from five, the less you think in that direction. And so and when it comes to investing, one of the things that, and this is why I wanted to give this to you guys, because I wanted you guys to be able to see really kind of how you think. Investing, if you're going to be a good investor, it takes a different mode and a different way to think, like all the way around. If you really want to invest well, you have to change how you think. There's some skills that you're going to have to learn to think different in order to be a good investor. And so as we get into the presentation, you're going to see exactly what I mean about how you have to change some of the things in terms of how we think. For those of us who are A's, right? You're an A. Chances are you probably already invest, or you've been itching to invest, and you've been learning a little bit, and you're ready to go. Okay, and so so let's begin. Can someone hold on? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so Okay, so if anybody is hungry, they have food out there that you can grab and then come right back. I'm not sure what it is. Uh, huh? Oh, baked potato bar? Okay, so if you guys are hungry, start with this section. Please avail yourself of the potato bar and then come on back. And then I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to leave you. We'll get started as soon as you finish. And so this section first, that section second, and then this section third. Okay? All right.
It's not because I don't have the mindset. You know what my situation is. Because my mindset was there.
I got you.
So it's not that I don't think that way.
I got you. You good. You good. Huh? You have what? Caveats? Okay.
They don't look like they trying to go anywhere.
The disclaimer. Yeah. Huh? Can you? Thank you. Okay. I got you. Two, two, and three. Where's your three? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That it doesn't the there everybody has circumstances, but those circumstances lead to a certain way of thinking. So, yeah. All right. Okay. All right. This section, go ahead and go, and then come on back. Matter of fact, y'all go ahead and go with them because it ain't too many to that section. So if y'all hungry, y'all go ahead and then come back. Yep. Ooh. Three, two, and two. Where's your three? A. Okay. All right. Good. 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 Thank you. Good. Good. Huh? Say what? Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh. Oh man. Okay. All right. Of which one? Okay. All right. I'm gonna print some more right now. That's why I'm gonna just go on and print it. Okay. Y'all not hungry? I've invested in my food bill before I got here. So I feel you. Right, right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Oh, wait. No, it's so no, we're not going cause yeah. Cause my wife gonna be like, yeah, no, where you going?
I was like, well, maybe it's a 6 week course because we're missing next week.
Yeah, probably yeah. Yeah. I gotta that's I was so worried about getting this first one going. Like this was the big thing for me because I'm trying to save people from Christmas and Black Friday. And so man, I'm so sick of black people protesting stuff and they don't have a plan as to how to protest properly.
We've done it like this. Everybody's gotten everything all year long. Guess what?
Man, listen.
Merry Christmas.
Let me tell you. Let me cut this off. Let me tell you the All right, so where we're going to start is we're going to start very simplistically, and then we'll kind of get into some deeper things. The reason why we'll start simplistically is because I don't know where everybody is, and probably everybody's in multiple places in terms of their understanding of what investing is. So let's start here. What is investing? Investing, we're not all back yet? Oh, man. Okay, they'll be all right without this one. Invest, because all this is really simple, all right? So investing is the act of purchasing assets in the hopes that they will increase in value over time. That's a very simple idea or concept of what investing is. It's the ability to purchase assets, and your hope, your wish, your dream, your vision, your idea is that this thing that you purchase will go up in value over time. All right, so if any of you have ever purchased a home in California, you have realized this, that you purchased something, it was worth something when you purchased it, and now if you've held on to it for some time, it is worth far more than what you actually purchased it for. So your house was an asset that went up in value over time. Yes? All right, here we go. So the William Coleman answer is this: investing is when you see your money as a person who lives in your house and you are tired of them sleeping on the couch and not being productive. Therefore, you make your money get a job. Okay? That is my answer to what investing is. So once you go and you make some money, the money can't just sit around. That thing got to get a job, right? It has to begin to produce something and bring some other value other than itself, right, into the house, right? See, here's the thing. Many of you who've been in relationships, and you know this, right? You know this. Have you ever been in a relationship with somebody who thought they were the prize? Right? And therefore, they didn't have to do anything when they got there, right? And then after a while, you're like, well, get out of here, right? And so you have to see your money as the same way. Your money is a whole person that lives in your house. And so, it's wonderful, but no, like you got to get up. You got to do something. You got to go to work, okay? And so you got to see money that way. That's one of those mindset shifts, right, that you have to have. You got to see it different. You got to see money different, all right? And so let's do a little bit of prep work. So when it comes to money, and so I'm a pastor, I got to put some scripture on it, okay? So when it comes to money, we have to do some prep work. So this is a passage in Luke chapter 14, starting at verse 25, and I want us to read it together. 1, 2, 3, except for those of you who are eating. 1, 2, 3, go. See, y'all funny. Like, listen, y'all got to listen. Y'all remind me of the guy in what was that movie with Eddie Murphy? The movie Harlem Nights, and they was all shooting the thing. It was. All right, listen, all together now. All right, here we go. A large crowd was following Jesus. He turned around and said to them, if you want to be my disciple, you must hate everyone else by comparison. Your father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters. Yes, even your own life. Otherwise, you cannot be my disciple. And if you do not carry your own cross and follow me, you cannot be my disciple. But don't begin until you... There it is, right there, right? Count the cost. For who would begin construction of a building without first to see if there is, and otherwise before, and they would say, or first sitting down with his counselors to discuss with his heart of could and so here we go. Now, let's deal with this. I want to answer one question. No, Jesus didn't say you have to hate people. He didn't say that. He said by comparison, right? The idea is that our love for him has to be, needs to be, should be so great that when we look at our love for others, it pales in comparison to our love to him. Now, everybody clear with that? Now, here's all he's saying. What he's saying is, if you're going to be my disciple, you got to do some prep work, right? You got to prepare. If you're going to follow me, Jesus says, you want to count the cost. You want to make sure that you have enough of what it takes to actually be able to follow me. What I would say is that applies to almost anything in life. And he uses two examples to make that point, right? And so if you're, for instance, if you're going to go to school, you kind of want to count the cost and see, do you have what it takes, the capacity to actually be able to go? Do you have the time, right? Do you have the money? Do you have the wherewithal? Do you have the ability to actually go? If you're going to get married, do you have the time? Do you have the temperament? Do you have the patience, right? Do you have what it takes to actually make it all the way through? And so the idea behind investing, and I'm borrowing that for this, is that if you're going to invest, never, ever, ever invest anything before you count the cost to determine, are you ready to invest? Right? That's why I said on Sunday, if you got to have more than $5 to come to this class. Why? Because you can't come to an investing class and all you got is $5 and you're looking to turn $5 into $500,000. That like you can do it, but probably not in your lifetime, right? And at that point, if all you have is $5, you're not ready to invest, right? You have to figure out how to manage the 5. So that you can get to 500, so that you can get to 1,000, so that you can get to 5,000, and then you'll be ready to begin your investing journey. Does that make sense? All right, here we go. So, once again, there's, matter of fact, let me skip this next part and get to it since we're running a little behind. Here we go. So, why do I need to invest? Okay, why do I need to invest? I'm going to give you several reasons why you need to invest. Number one, it's a kingdom principle. All the scriptures that we just skipped over are some of the principles that kind of outline our need to invest. In fact, you'll probably hear some of that on Sunday in the message for Sunday. I'm going to go do a little bit of a deeper dive into the principles in terms of why we should invest and how God actually instructs us to and why. And so I would say it's a kingdom principle. Number two, it is necessary to build wealth and pass it on to the next generation. That's huge. That is huge. Many of us will be the first generation of people that have been able to pass on anything to anybody, right? And some of us wish we had somebody that passed something on to us. Okay? And so one of the ways to do that is to invest. You have to be able to invest in order to build wealth and pass it on to the next generation. In fact, there's a passage in Proverbs. Don't quote me, I think it's like 22:7 or something like that. But it says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Right? And what's interesting is because he says a good man, right? Which is an adjective to describe the character of the guy. And it says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, which means it cannot be said about me if I'm a good guy until you see my grandkids. Right? That's a huge thing. And so this is really, really important to me. So here we go. Why do I need to invest? It fuels and funds radical generosity. Right? And so one of the things that the church has often been guilty of, and I don't think it's been guilty of it intentionally, but I think it's been a lot of just not knowing and a lot of ignorance, is that we have asked people for a lot of money for things that we've needed to do, but we haven't taught people what to do with the money that they actually have so that they can give. And it's not like, do I give to the church or do I pay my light bill? Do I, you know what I mean? Like we got to figure that out, right? And so, because we've had some situations where people, they wanted to give to something we were doing and they gave, but they themselves were they had serious poverty issues themselves. And at a certain level, at least for me, it just feels, I don't feel right. It's right? You need the money, but I love the people. And so, and giving is a part of spiritual growth and maturity. It is a discipline, giving. But as a church, we have to care more about the giving, and we have to care about the entire stewardship. And that's where these classes are coming from. Does that make sense? All right. Huh? Yeah. All right, here we go. And then lastly, you won't be able to retire if you don't. Okay? That's real talk. You will not be able to retire, especially in California, if you do not invest. And I'm serious about that. You have to. So I'll get to that later. You have to invest. You absolutely have to if you're going to be able, if you want to stop working one day. You have to be able to invest. So check this out. This is a map of the United States, and this map shows how the average age for retirement per state, and it shows how much money you need to have sitting in order to retire and be in an okay position. Right? This is not thriving. This is surviving. You're retired and you're somewhat comfortable with your retirement, but you're not flossing, right? But you're doing pretty good. Okay? So those are the numbers, right? For one person. That's per person, right? So if you're in California, the average retirement age is 64 in California. But what you need is 1.5 million sitting per person. Yeah, do you hear me? Do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Right, and so, right, so, yeah, you know what I mean? You have to, and this is no joke. This is not a game. And so if you have young people, if you have teenagers, get them into investing now, especially if you have kids or young kids. Listen, open up a custodial account for your young kids and begin putting things aside for them. I'm telling you, it is big. And so, is anybody thinking of retiring someplace other than California? Alabama? Where we at? I got to get right there. 713. Yeah, a lot of people moving out of California. Everybody moving to Texas.
Texas and Nevada, too. Because Nevada doesn't have those taxes.
you need a milli. You need a good milli in Nevada, right? Texas, 765,000. Only problem with Texas, though, Texas doesn't have a Prop 13 rule. So if you buy a house in Texas, listen to me, your property taxes are not 1%. They're 3 to 5%. So it's easy for you to go down there and get you a nice spot, and your property tax bill every year, 15, 20,000. Like, it's crazy, right? Crazy. Yeah, then there's that, right? You got to think about that for each one of the states. Yes. The cheapest would probably be Tennessee or Mississippi. Yeah, Tennessee and Mississippi. So you can go to Tennessee, all you need is 661, and you can go to Mississippi, all you need is 618. Well, right? Right, so, you know. All right. All right, so here we go. So we have to begin by changing our thinking, okay? So here's the typical thinking. And this is typical poor people thinking. And when I say poor, what's that? What is that? And when I when I say poor, I'm not meaning it in a derogatory way. I'm just meaning it as people who don't have money, or we think in more so in, like, I don't know if you know, I did some research, and what I discovered was there is and I'll share this with you in further classes, there is actually a mindset, how can I say? There is a skill set, actually, to being poor. And people who think in poor ways exercise the skill set of being poor, and in that skill set, they make choices and decisions that perpetuate the poverty. Right? Like, I'm serious. It's like a big deal. Like, if you were here on Sunday and you saw people cutting up their cards and stuff, like Bird, listen, that touched my heart. Why? Because poor people thinking, and we've all done it, right? I'm going to keep a card just for emergencies. But the tendency is that we use the card for everything but emergencies. And then the problem is this: if I have an emergency, watch this. If I have an emergency, normally what classifies it as an emergency is something to do with money. That's what the emergency is. Now, somebody may say, no, you may have an emergency and it ain't got nothing to do with money. Okay, well, if it don't have nothing to do with money, I don't need a credit card to fix it. So the reason we keep the card is because we're thinking we're going to respond to a time when we don't have money. Why do we want to go in debt and owe people when we already don't have the money? That is a poor people skill set. That is a poor people mindset, a way of thinking. And what ends up happening is we end up doing it, and we do it to the detriment of our own emergency situation. So when we have an emergency, we immediately create two emergencies. Number one, I got to pay for whatever I got to pay for. And then number two, I got to pay this back. And then when I pay it back, if I'm not paying it back at the end of the month, all of it, I'm paying more. Right? And so we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about how to get out of that, okay? So, but here's our normal way of thinking, okay? Poor people work. Nothing wrong with that, though, right? Poor people work. Poor people get paid. And then poor people spend what they are paid. Yes? Have we all been there? Have we all done that? Okay? All right, here we go. There's a difference, though. Rich people function totally different. Rich people work. They do. They go to work. They get paid. And they don't necessarily get paid more than poor people. Sometimes they do. But not always. You should read a book called The Millionaire Next Door. But here's the difference. Rich people work, get paid, then they invest. And then when they invest, they spend the money makes. Did you get it? Are you sure you have it? Okay. All right. And so this is trust me, this is a fundamental difference in thinking. It's a shift in thinking that we all have to learn. It's a shift in thinking that changes our everyday behavior if we will allow it. It's not just one word on a screen that you're looking at. This part right here is a change in lifestyle. And I'll explain it in just a little bit. Here we go. It's called The Millionaire Next Door. Okay. Now, let's look at the rules to the game. There are rules for investing. So here we go. Step number 1, be patient. Okay? Be patient. I can show you how, because I've done it for the last two, almost 3 years. I can show you how to take your money and flip it, and you can get 50, 70, 80, 100, 120% return on your money. I just can't show you how to do it fast. I can show you. I just can't show you quick. What you're not going to do is walk out of here tonight and be like, Pastor said, go do this, do that, do this. And you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and be like, dang, Pastor was right. Right? But if you come back and see me in a year, you're going to say, man, Pastor was right. Y'all with me? And so I can show you how to do it. I just can't show you how to do it fast. Okay? So you have to be patient. Never, in all caps, never invest more than you can afford to lose. Here's what I can guarantee you about investing. I can guarantee you nothing except you're going to lose some money. That I can guarantee. Okay? You will lose money. I cannot guarantee you will make anything, but I will guarantee you're going to lose it. And this is a complete mindset shift that you have to have. This is one of those poor people, rich people mindset shift thinking things that has to change. Because oftentimes when we're poor, our mind is thinking preservation. We're trying to preserve. And because we're trying to preserve, we limit our risk. Our risk tolerance is not as high as it should be. And because our risk tolerance is not as high as it should be, and we start looking at stuff, and anything that goes down, any negative, is like, oh my God, let me get my money out of there, right? because we're panicking because we haven't built the fortitude to be able to handle the losses along with the wins. Are you with me? So when I started investing in the stock market a few years ago, something happened to me that was great and terrible. Okay? So what happened to me is that the very first stock I picked that I invested in, the very first one, that thing ran up, and I ended up making like $8,000 to $10,000 in like 2 months. Picked the stock, that thing took off. And I was like, whoo, boy, listen, if this is how it is, listen here. And so, and everybody that I listen to, people that I learn from, they always tell me, like, sometimes a win is the worst thing that can happen to you because you get cocky, right? You get cocky. And so I'm out here with this $10,000 win, like, well, you can't touch me. And then, I'm looking at something else, and that thing is running, and it's been running for like 4 months. And I'm like, boy, listen, I'm finna cash in. And I went and bought that thing. Right? So I'm like, wait, what happened? What happened? I thought it was, right? And so what I've done over the last few years is I have learned how to grow in my patience. I've learned how to absorb and expand my risk tolerance. So 2 weeks ago, the market started tanking. I pulled up my account. I didn't create a slide for it, but I was gonna show y'all. I opened my account and I was negative. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, bruh was negative. Hold on. Let me go back to my photos here. Yeah, bruh, where I'm at. Yeah. Tell me what that say.
You were down 8K. Or are you talking about the percentage?
Well, just
The dollar amount?
the dollar amount.
You were down 8K.
I'm down 8K. I went to sleep. I woke up. Opened my phone. Woo, down 8K. Right? So then, a couple days later, see if I can find it. I opened. Are you gonna let me find this? Huh? I didn't panic. I had that little flutter. But I didn't panic. And I didn't panic because I've seen this before. Right? I've seen this before. I went through it like I went through it like a gang of times. And so, man, I should have made a slide because now I'm trying to find it and it's not going to let me find it. But anyway, so I woke up a couple days later, checked my account, and my account it's up 13,000. And it's in here, I just can't find it. Right? So yeah, so the thing, what I'm saying is that when you're investing is never like this. It is always like this. Okay? It is always like this. And what you have to do is you have to grow your ability to tolerate the downturns in order to be around when it turns around and goes back up. Does that make sense? And this is why you can't do it. This is why I can't show you how to do it quickly. And this is why you never want to invest more than you are able to lose, right? So every trade I put in, when I put it in, I'm thinking, man, right? Because there's some trades, and I got to catch myself, because there's some trades I will put in, and I'll be like, man, I'm just finna load the boat because that thing gonna hit. And then I start thinking, but what if it don't hit? You out of the boat. I'm like, I gotta keep my boat. and so I've had to discipline myself to reduce my exposure. And it happens the same way every time. When it hits, I'm like, man, I knew I should have got in there and did more. But then when it doesn't hit, I'm like, man, I shouldn't have put nothing in there at all. So reducing my exposure has to do with, so for instance, if I have $10,000 in my account, and let's say there's a play that I want to make, and that play costs me $1,500. So I have to give that money out, right? So now my account is sitting at $8,500. If it's a good play and it runs up, so matter of fact, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a clear example. I should have put these on slides, but I'll give you a clear example. Okay, so there's a play that I did in a company called Micron. I bought the play September 25th of this year. Okay, I paid $1,300 for the play. It cost me $1,300. Okay? This is currently where I'm at now. Can you read how much percentage I'm up?
Over 600.
I'm over 600%.
6 times.
Yes. And so can you read what my total gain is right now?
You're up 8K.
Since September 25th. Everybody with me? See it? You see it?
I do.
Okay. You see it?
So how much you gonna take out of there?
Nothing. See it? Okay. See it? Huh? 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 See? See? All right. So now, here we go. When I spent the $1,300, I had, available cash, because I was in some other place. Available cash, I had like $4,000 in my account. So I spent 13. And I'm like, come on. Right? But now I'm up 600%. I'm like, man, I should have put the whole 4K in there. But then that would have been I will have exposed myself to 100% risk, right? Rather than exposing myself to like 25 or 30% risk, okay? Now, had I exposed myself to 100% risk, I would be up I would be up 8K, 13, I probably could have bought 3 contracts, maybe even 4. I would have been up 8K times 3 or 8K times 4. Yeah. And so, like, I'm dancing at that point, right? But I have to discipline myself. As an investor, you got to learn how to discipline yourself, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to do what they call blowing out your account, right? Meaning you don't want to put all of your money inside of a play, because if it works, like, we all thanking God. But if it doesn't work, I didn't blow up my account and now I got to start all the way from scratch, and I don't want to do that. So you have to leave some money in reserve in order to get back if you take a loss. All right, is everybody with me? So you never invest more than what you can afford to lose. Never, right? And so the question becomes, how do you know how much you can afford to lose? Well, that is different for each person. And so the way I said it is like, for me, the way I said it is like this. How much money have I blown through and not invested anything? Right? That's the amount of money I can afford to lose, because I've lost it before, just blowing through it. Right? And so when it comes to investing, specifically in the stock market for myself, how do I determine that? It is determined by how much money I have won from the market. So in other words, I'm at the point now, I'm not risking any of my own money. I'm only risking the money that the stock market has already paid me. So I'm playing on what we call house money. Is everybody with me? Does that make sense? Okay. So you never invest more than what you can afford to lose. Here we go. Next one. You have to understand your risk tolerance. This is all that we just talked about that. You have to understand your risk tolerance, right? What can you tolerate? What are you willing to risk? What you don't want to do is you don't want to invest something and then you're going to lose sleep. Right? Like, you haven't built the tolerance yet. Right? So you invest what you're not going to lose sleep over. Does that make sense? Okay? And let me say this. Never, ever, 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 ever be afraid to miss out on money. Never. Why? Because there's always another investment. Always. Okay? Here we go. Invest your discretionary income. What does that mean? That's your free money. Okay? That is your free money. Don't invest money that listen, I got to pay this bill. But Coleman been talking about this hot stock play. And if this thing hit, ooh, baby. No, that's not, don't do that, right? Don't do that. Don't invest your food money. Don't do that, right? Invest your free money, okay? Here we go. Next, decide what kind of investor you are, right? All of this is prep work. All of this is prep work. You have to decide what kind of investor you are. Are you an active investor? Right? Meaning, you're going to check this thing regularly. You want shorter term plays because you're going to check it. You want to get in, get out. You know what I mean? Or are you a set it and forget it kind of person? You just want to put some money somewhere, let it do what it do. You show up in 5 years, and that thing is like, I'm a millionaire. Like, what kind of investor are you? Right? So you gotta figure that. You gotta figure that out. Okay? Here we go. And then you want to read. You want to read. Believe it or not, the first part, and this is the part nobody likes, the first part of learning how to invest is to invest in you. If you don't hear anything else I say, I need you to hear this. You need to invest in you. Never be an ignorant investor. Because ignorant investing is not investing. That's called gambling. And investors don't gamble. Right? I'm in the stock market. I'm doing things in there, and I promise you I'm not gambling. I win and I lose, but I win more than I lose. Why? Because I'm not gambling. Real investors do not gamble. That's not what we do. If you're going to be a good investor, an avid investor, a real investor, a serious investor, if you're really looking for investing, and this is the mindset I want you to adopt. If you're looking for investing to be able to change your life, to literally pay for your life, to retire you, to pay for it, that 1.5 per person that you need to retire, if you're looking to get that out of the market, you got to treat it that way. You can't treat it like a hobby. You got to treat it like it's going to change your life. You got to treat it like this is one of the most important things that you're doing for yourself, for your family, and for your future. And what that means is you got to read. You have to read. You can't, there's no like, I don't know any other way around it. You have to read. You got to take in information. Why? Because you have to know what's going on. You got to know why things are happening the way they're happening. You got to know like what is this causing? Right? So because if you don't know what this is causing, you'll run into something not knowing that you need to stay 700 feet away from it, right? And wise investors who read, they like, man, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. Why? Because in 6 months, the president already said this, and this is coming down the pike, and when that happens, that's going to trigger this, and that company is going, and you'd be like, but everybody else is running over there like, oh, this is, You gotta read, right? And so let me tell you why. Right? These are richest men on the planet. Right? So Bill Gates, everybody know Bill Gates? So Bill Gates reads around 50 books per year, or about 1 book per week. Most of his books are nonfiction about business, science, engineering, disease, and public health. Warren Buffett, anybody know Warren Buffett? The most successful individual investor in the history of investing in the stock market, reads 5 different newspapers for 5 to 6 hours a day, and also reads 500 pages of financial documents. He also spends almost 8 hours a day reading. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, reads 2 books a day. Right? I don't know if it's Dr. Seuss or what he reading, but he you know what I mean? The Cat in the Hat. I don't know what he doing, but he reading 2 books a day. All right? So David Rubenstein reads 6 books a week and up to 8 newspapers a day. Mark Cuban reads for more than 3 hours almost every day, which means this. These guys who have these major companies who are running all of these things, who are responsible for hundreds, thousands of people and trillions of dollars. For them, they don't spend all day running their companies. They spend the majority of their days reading. Why? Because it's the ideas that you get from reading. It's the knowledge that you learn, that you take in, that will cause you to make 1 or 2 choices that will make you millions of dollars. Everybody with me? Okay, all right, here we go. Let's go. Let's get it. So where do I invest? Right? That's the question. Where do I invest? Now, so there are multiple areas for you to invest in, right? All over here. There's multiple areas to invest in. I ain't covering all those areas. Okay? I'm not covering all those areas. The one area that I'm going to focus in on, right? I could focus on real estate because I'm a real estate investor, but I'm not here to talk about real estate. Why? Because you need a certain amount of money to play the real estate game. Right? You need a certain amount of money to play it well. You know what I mean? So I'm not talking about real estate. Here's what I'm talking about. And I could talk to you about real estate because I figured out a way, but the first house I bought it with no money down, literally. Right? So I know how to do that. But even when I bought it with no money down, my daddy still had to write me a $10,000 check in order to fix the house up. So you know what I'm saying? So you need a certain amount of money to play in the real estate game. Anyway, here we go. Stocks. That's where. Stocks. Why stocks? Because stocks has been consistently the number one way that people have built wealth in this country over time. It is the playground where the billionaires play. It is the playground where the millionaires play. Elon Musk is worth right now over $500 billion. He just signed an agreement with Tesla, and Tesla has made him the offer he told them to make him, which is to give him a $1 trillion bonus. And there's certain metrics he has to meet in order for that to happen, right? One of which is he has to deliver over 1 million robots. I don't think you heard what I just said. He has to deliver over the next 5 years 1 million robots. Do you know what that means? The whole iRobot thing with Will Smith and all that, that's about to happen. You need to know that in terms of what's coming, right? And so he has to deliver 1 million robots. He has to deliver so many million Tesla cars as autonomous driving vehicles because what they're looking to do is they're looking to kind of do the Waymo thing, right? Where you kind of bypass taxis, but you use Tesla. However, the way that Tesla wants to do it is Tesla wants to utilize the Teslas that are already out in people's garages. So the way that they're thinking about doing it is for all new Teslas and old ones, you will get an upgrade to your car that if you go to work and you drive your car to work and you want your car to be a robo-taxi, you hit the robo-taxi feature on your Tesla, and while you're at work, your car is out making money, and then it comes to pick you up at the end of your day and then takes you home. Right? And how do I know? Right? you gotta read, okay? And yes.
You can rent a Tesla for $60
Mm-hmm.
for a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good play right there. Without buying it. You're just renting it for $60.
Oh, yeah. But how do you make money?
Well, I guess
Mm-hmm.
then you make the play from there.
Oh, well, I mean, you can buy one and then you can sign up for the robo taxi thing when they start it, and then you can make money that way. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure how. Uh, yeah, just renting a Tesla is just renting a Tesla. I'm not sure how that, yeah, could make me money if I rent one.
Well, no, I was just throwing that in the mix, saying people who may want to buy, buy a Tesla or want to know how it rides and what
Oh, they can just test one out. Yes, absolutely, for sure,
and
for
then
sure.
from there, if you can afford to purchase one,
Yeah,
then you go for it, and then you have those options.
there you go. There you go. Yep, that works. But watch this. If they're moving to if they're going to move Tesla to the robo taxi type situation, what do you think that's going to do to Uber?
Buying a Tesla is doing nothing, but like all we're doing is paying for
I
Elon
think
Musk his $1 trillion. Because when we go and we put our money in
Yeah.
Tesla, all we're doing is giving him more money to read Dr. Seuss. That's all we're doing. So why would we do that?
But you know they having problems with Uber and Lyft with the assaults and then the people feeling unsafe inside. So
Mm-hmm.
they're having like a dispute because the men are saying if women can, prefer
Mm.
women drivers,
Mm-hmm.
that's discriminatory. So now they're trying to sue them. So at some point, I feel like Uber and Lyft is gonna start, dwindling down anyway, and then like Tesla's gonna come right behind them, and then come up where you don't even have to worry about nobody in the car with you.
The problem with that is that we are now taking jobs from people.
And that
So if
is,
you want to
yeah.
take jobs from humans, then you will play into that concept.
And well, and this,
People their income by
yeah, by doing Uber, Lyft, yeah, and that's where all of this stuff gets really really sticky in terms of how it affects people, right? How will people be able to make money? The more AI comes online, um, like I'm telling, like Amazon has more robots working than any company in the U.S. right now. They have over 1 million robots actively working. In Southern California, my brother's a longshoreman, and years ago they had one port that was totally automated, all robots. And just about a week ago, we were talking, and I asked him. I said, because I was making this point, and then I said, yeah, I said, because I know in LA, I said, man, they still got that automated port, and my brother said they got 4 of them now. And he had to switch his job, he was telling me, because he was like a regular longshoreman going to the hog, bidding on jobs, getting money, all that kind of thing. And he switched and took a manager position with one of the companies because he noticed they weren't bringing in a lot of the longshoremen to work because the robots were doing them, but they weren't getting rid of any managers. So he became a manager.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Pastor, you spoke from the very beginning about mindset.
Yeah.
And when you also spoke about reading.
Mm-hmm.
You're reading and you've seen this is coming.
Yep.
And depending on your mindset, there's opportunity.
Yes.
And it was mentioned that why would I invest in Elon Musk?
Mm-hmm.
Because of these ideas that are coming out, and you can profit from it.
Yeah.
You can benefit from it.
Yeah.
And then the operations, like your cousin did,
Mm-hmm.
the operations of this system.
Mm-hmm.
If you change your mindset, you work instead of the physical labor. Now I'm going to do the mental work to program,
Mm-hmm.
design these robots.
Yeah.
And then with the $60 a day car,
Mm-hmm.
the question is, well, now how can I utilize this? I have it for $60 a day
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. How can I make 60 plus
Plus,
a day
yes.
off of it
Yeah.
to subsidize? Somebody else is going to pay the 60,
Yeah.
and I'm going to benefit from it.
There you go.
So it's a mindset.
Yeah.
It's a mindset.
Yeah. We have to change our thing. And even with investing, there is what's called value investing. So value investing, and I get the sentiment. Value investing is like, for instance, I would never invest in prisons, even though like the prison industrial complex, there's prisons on the stock market you can invest in. I just, for ethical reasons, I wouldn't invest in those kinds of things. So I get like if people are looking at Elon and they have ideas and they're I don't want to, I get that. But I also understand the exact point that you're making, which is when we're looking at what's happening, whether Elon is doing it, whether whether AI is doing it and it's happening, people have to begin. We have to think about this different. And so here's what I see. Number one, we're going to have to learn how to invest. I don't think not investing, especially in the stock market, I don't think that's an option anymore for us. I really don't.
That's, I got a question.
Yes.
I think this is my personal opinion.
Hmm.
Why I mean I invested years ago, lost money, got out of it.
Yeah.
Um, but the symbols and understanding
Hmm.
what they are,
Hmm.
I think that's one of the things that deter, or at least deter me when
Mm.
you're talking about the symbols,
Hmm.
what they mean. Gold is whatever.
Hmm.
You know, petroleum is something else.
Hmm.
The stock market. So
Hmm.
when you're reading, you say read,
Hmm.
but I guess with AI now you could ask AI what the symbols mean,
Yeah.
and you would have a better understanding. So I think that's the downside when you read,
Mhm.
understanding what you read.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is if you don't have a Chat GPT account, spend the money and get one. Or if and there's a bunch of different AI things, kind of like Chat, that you could do. And whatever you're reading, especially if you don't understand it, if they're financial reports, all of those things, just download it and then upload it to one of the AI things and tell AI, give me a simplified version of what this is saying. And it'll do it in 2 seconds. And then when you go back and read it, it'll put it in ways in which it is very understandable. So the concern you have is a big one, but but AI has a way of actually being able to help with that for sure.
Yeah, because I'm a very cautious person. If I'm,
Yeah. Yeah.
investing my money, I want to understand what it is
100%.
and why I'm doing it.
Yep.
If
Yep.
I'm doing it, I'm not going to trip about losing.
Yeah.
I want to know what it is I'm doing.
Man, you person after my own heart. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say this. About 4 years ago, I was working with Facebook,
Yeah.
and I met some
Ooh.
people that were working there.
Yeah.
And one of the programmers told me, he says, the desire is that we all learn how to code. I'm saying this, that if we invest not just money, but time and energy in learning how the systems work,
Hmm.
then once you gain that knowledge, you have a better advantage of surviving whatever this is that's coming because you know how these systems work, you
Hmm.
can program.
Hmm.
I learned how to program. I learned how to use JavaScript to draw art
Oh,
just from the
nice.
time that I was working with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm just saying that education, probably saying reading,
Yeah.
is so fundamentally important.
It
Because
is.
that's how you gain
Yep.
the ability to be successful and know how to properly invest. So
Oh man.
having the knowledge to do it
Yeah. For sure.
for the investment for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good stuff. And in fact, what I would say is this, and you guys can like write this down and see if it comes true. Where I believe the value will be in the job market uh, in the future is number one, we're going to have to learn how to invest in these companies. We got it. We got to. That's number one. Number two, here's what I think is going to happen. I think this snuck by everybody, but I think it's coming right back. Skill trades. Yeah, yeah. I think we dropped the ball on skill trades, and that is the one thing that will probably be the last thing that the robots will do. Is skill trades, right? And so, like, man, Like you need somebody to build a house, or
Yeah, you can't get no
you know what I mean?
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, they have that now. They do have a rope. They do have a printer that will print you a house. Yeah, yeah. They do have that, but I don't know how popular that is right now, but nonetheless, you know what I mean. Even in your printed house, you know what I mean. Like you know what I mean. Like somebody got to run the wiring, somebody got to fix it. You know, you need upgrades. You know what I mean. Like all these skilled trades, the gardening, like I'm telling you, all of those are going to be multi-million-dollar businesses, and we can't. You know what I mean? Like don't overlook that stuff, right? Because and with AI, everything is going to become so polished that people are going to want a little bit of unpolished, right? So there's some skills and whatnot that we can actually go back and get in the job world, but we have to start thinking about it and preparing for it now. Otherwise, when it's needed, that's the wrong time to prepare. All right? Yes. Oh, yeah. HVAC specialist. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, even if you don't plan that to be your career, that's just a good skill to know. Right? Listen, I'm trying to figure out now, can I go to a mechanic class? Because you know what I'm saying? So here we go. So why stock, right? Why do I push stock so much? Okay, and so let me tell you why. Here's why I push stock so much. Number one, the stock market is the great equalizer, and I need for you to understand this. It's the great equalizer, and here's what I mean. There is no racism in it. Right? There is no racism in it, and this is the. I'm not saying that people aren't racist, but they don't know who you are, right? Don't nobody know who you are. You just got an account and you moving money, right? And so there's no racism in it. And what that means, especially for those of us who are African Americans, or who have lived through how when wealth has been transferred to minorities in this country, how systematically it is always taken away, always torn down. There's always been preventative measures from allowing the majority of us to participate in the upside to things. I never will forget, I found a chest that belonged to my great-grandmother. And inside of the chest, she had an original newspaper from when Martin Luther King was killed, 1968, Oakland Tribune, original newspaper. I opened it up, and I immediately went to the real estate section. I just wanted to see how much houses was going for in 1968. So I went to the real estate section, and then I began to see all of these houses in Oakland and these other areas, and a lot of the houses had this R with a circle around it. And I remember asking my mom, I said, Mom, what is this R with the circle? And she said, that means restricted. And I said, what do you mean restricted? Well, they couldn't sell those to black people. I was like, are you serious? And so then that started making sense, right? So there's another book that you might want to get to called The Color Code. And that will teach you all about the history of redlining inside of this country. Several years ago, there was this true story. Several years ago, there was a black couple in Marin who had a home that they went to sell, and the person who came out to appraise the home appraised it for a certain amount, and they didn't feel it was right. So they took some of their white friends, put their white friends in the house, called the appraiser back out to reappraise the home. And when they met the white people who was in the home and they reappraised it, it came in, listen, $400,000 to $500,000 more. So you know, right? And so the stock market has none of that, right? It doesn't have any of that. There's no sexism. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female. It doesn't matter, right? There's no classism, right? There's no prejudice. The stock market is just you and the market. It's you and what you know. right? You're playing you. So this is why I love the stock market so much, right? As opposed to almost any of these other, this is why I love it so much, right? There's no racism, sexism, classism, or prejudice in it. So here we go. So when you start looking at, the question is, what kind of investor are you? Are you an active investor? Do you want to be there looking at it, moving stuff actively all the time? Are you a passive investor? Set it, forget it, that kind of thing. Are you an aggressive investor, right? Meaning, man, like you a bull. You know what I mean? So in the stock market, what you have two animals represent two different things. You have the bull, which means that you're aggressive in terms of the market going up. And then you have bears, right? Bears are where you believe that the market is primarily going to go down. Okay, and so are you aggressive in your investing? Are you conservative in your investing, right? If you're aggressive, you want to risk more money. If you're conservative, you don't want to risk money. All of that affects how you invest. And these two things are different depending on who you are. If you're a young person, you need to be aggressive. Why? Because you got time to recover, right? If you older, you probably need to be, you know what I mean? You need to be a little more conservative. Why? Because you can't take a big hit at 60. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If you 18, you can take a big hit. You know what I'm saying? But if you 75, you kind of want to calm that all down a little bit. You know what I mean? Okay, so here we go. Are you income driven? Meaning, when you invest, are you looking to get income from this? Is this something that you want to turn into a monthly thing? Are you a net worth investor? Like you just want to grow your bottom line. You just want to grow how much you're worth, right? That's a different mindset and a different way of thinking. Or are you trying to be a millionaire tomorrow? Right? If that's you, this is not your class. Okay? All right. And in fact, I don't know of a class that would be your class. Okay. All right, here we go. So where do I invest? Where do I invest? So I would say this: money in the bank is losing money. You got to get your money out of the bank. Okay. Money in the bank is losing money. Doesn't matter. You can have a high yield savings account. All of that is losing money if you're in the bank. Why? Because what's my next thing? Okay, here it is. Because you want to put your money where you're getting at a return that at least beats inflation, right? So inflation is consistently at anywhere between 2 and 4%, right? And so if you've got your money in the bank and they're only giving you 0.01% on your money, or if you got it in a high interest savings account or whatever, or high interest checking account, and they're giving you 2%, 3% or whatever, you're either right there or just below inflation, which means the value of your dollars are going down every day it's in the bank. You have to get your money out of the bank. Is everybody with me? Okay. So here we go. So there's some options. There's CDs, mutual funds, index funds, etc. We'll get to all that later. Here we go. So the number one rule of investing is not. It is not. It is not. Investing is not gambling. Here we go. So let's begin. Your income is your most important wealth building tool. And you have to protect your income. Now, I need for you to hear me with this one. Your income is your most important wealth building tool, and you have to protect your income, which means stop going to work arguing and fussing with people all the time. Right? Stop, listen to me. Stop going to work talking about, I don't need to be here no way. They just, listen to me. Sit your little self down because you need to protect your income. Right? You need to protect your income. And so, and you got a couple of ways you need to do that. You need to decrease expenses and or make more money. Right? So again, here comes a whole mind shift. You got to decrease expenses, which means this: just because you can't afford it doesn't mean you can't afford it. You missed it, I give it to you again. Just because you can't afford it doesn't mean you can afford it. You missed it, I give it to you again. Just because you can't afford it doesn't mean you can afford it. If you are not investing and you don't have money to invest, but you can go to Starbucks every day, you cannot afford Starbucks. If you're fast fooding, but you don't have any money in the market anywhere, and you cannot afford to eat out. Right? You can do it, but I'm just telling you, you can't afford it. And so you have to decrease expenses. You'll be amazed at how much money you find if you decrease expenses. You'll be amazed. Because you don't need Netflix. How come you don't need Netflix? Because you need to read more so you can be a good investor. You don't need Xfinity. Why? Because you can go get a super box for a couple $100, cut your Infinity bill, and get all the channels that you would get on Xfinity for free on your super box. You just need an internet connection. Yeah, right. Right, for real. Woo. Listen, I know, right? So decrease expenses or earn extra money. So this is what I did, right? During COVID, I started driving DoorDash. Right? Why? Because I'm sitting at home and people got to eat. So signed up. And I started driving DoorDash. And I'm out and about delivering folks their food and taking them. And I started paying attention. I'm like, shoot, I'm out here for 5 hours. Man, I got $175. $175 a day, 5 days a week. Wait. How many thousands of dollars a month? Listen, that ain't no money. That's a little money. So this is what I did. I took my DoorDash money and I stashed my DoorDash money, right? And just putting it to the side. So then we were doing some work in the backyard, and then we got our backyard landscaped and all that kind of stuff, and then we wanted a hot tub. So we went to a hot tub show, worked out the deal with the people, ordered the hot tub. Guess where I paid the hot tub money from? Listen, I delivered a hot tub to my house. Right? Just door dashing. Right? And so you just make extra income. Right? And so that's important. So here we go. Number 2, you got to put the extra money in your market account. Okay? So decrease expenses or make more money. And then what you do is you take the extra money and you put it into your market account. So if you don't have a market account, you need to have one set up. You need to get one set up. If you're going to invest in the stocks, you need a brokerage account. And so for me, all my brokerage account that I use for stocks is primarily at E-Trade. That's what I use, E-Trade. But there's tons of them out there. There's what's the one that used to be? It used to be Ameritrade, TD Ameritrade, but it was taken over by, who was that? Schwab. I think it's Schwab. Yeah, so Fidelity, Schwab. Robinhood is a big one, is a good one. In fact, I kind of like Robinhood. I don't like Robinhood, but I like Robinhood. I like Robinhood because because I invest in Robinhood. But I like Robinhood because Robinhood has, like, you can do a lot of stuff in Robinhood for the new investor. And it's very user friendly. They kind of almost made it like a video game. So it's really engaging, and you have access to everything. You can do crypto, you can do stocks, you can do all kind of stuff on Robinhood. It's crazy what you can do on that platform. And so there's a bunch of different ones, but you need to get an account, right? You need to get a brokerage account, open up one, and then after that, once you get your market account, you need to pick an investment. Okay, pick an investment, and then once you pick your investment, you purchase it, and then you do what? Leave it alone.
So, Pastor, I know I got a lot of questions.
Yes,
So,
and I'm probably about to get to it, but go ahead.
okay, so you're saying workers are coming, but let's just say if you're with Fidelity
Uh-huh.
and you don't want to do the work, you just want to invest the money.
Yeah.
But now the difference is you would have to be paying one of their brokers or employees
Yeah.
versus you doing it yourself.
Yeah. So you can do that. That's called auto investing. So you can pay one of the brokerages. They have services where they will invest for you. You can do that. Typically, there's a fee that they charge to do that. At this point, I would highly recommend that you not do that. The reason why is because you can do the exact same thing and just save your money. And the money that you save, you just put it into your account. And even if you allow someone else to invest the money for you, you still need to research and do the work to know which one to choose, right? It's because it's not just, well, so-and-so say they do it or they have this service, and no. You got to read. You got to compare, because they'll charge you this fee or another one will charge you that fee. This one will do that, won't do that. This one will do that, won't do that. So you still have to research a bit. And if you're going to do that research anyway, I would suggest that, just my suggestion, I would suggest that you do it yourself. And here's why I'm saying it. So watch this. Here's what I recommend. Start with what's called an index ETF. Okay? So I got to explain a few things. An ETF, does anybody don't know what an ETF is? Okay. An ETF is what's called an electronic traded fund. Okay? It is similar to, not quite, but it is similar to a mutual fund. Okay? And so what an ETF is, it is a fund, and an ETF is primarily based in one area of the market. Okay? One area. And it'll have stocks in the fund from that one area of the market. A mutual fund is a little different. A mutual fund will have stocks from all different areas, all different types of companies. Not so with an ETF. It normally has stocks in it only from a particular area in the market. Okay? But I'm suggesting that you get what's called an index ETF. Okay? So let me show you the difference. There is the first stock I told you about that I made all the money on, that ran up. It was an ETF called SMH. SMH is an ETF that tracks semiconductor stocks, right? And that's where I made a bunch of money the first time I bought it, okay? And the only companies it has in there are companies that do or work in the semiconductor industry. That's it. An index ETF is different. An index ETF only has companies in a particular index. So let me explain. Inside of the stock market, you have four primary, there's other ones, but there's four primary what we call indices or indexes. An index is a grouping of stocks. It's where the stocks hang out. It's kind of like their address, if you will, right? So in the stock market, you have the Dow. The Dow, you guys have heard of the Dow Jones, right? So the Dow Jones tracks like the biggest, like the 30 biggest companies. They're well established. They're blue chip stocks, right? They've been around for a while. They're well established companies. And it tracks the top 30 companies in the stock market on the Dow Jones. Then you have the S&P. The S&P tracks the top 500 companies on the stock market, right? And you have to qualify to be in the S&P. You get companies that get delisted sometimes because they don't quite, fit. So the S&P, top 500. Everybody with me? Then you have the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ houses primarily most of your tech stocks, right? Everybody techie over there in the NASDAQ, okay? Then you have what they call the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 are smaller companies, or what they call mid or small cap companies, okay? And so you have those four primarily. So an index ETF is a ETF that has companies in it that follow the patterns of how these different indexes move. So let me give you an example. My favorite is VOO. These are my favorites. VOO, SPY, QQQ, and VTI. Is everybody with me? Okay. VOO is from Vanguard. Vanguard is a very well-standing, very reputable investment company, and VOO is their index ETF that follows, it tracks along with the S&P 500. So as the S&P 500 moves, so does VOO. Is everybody with me? So SPY is another one that tracks S&P 500. QQQ tracks with the NASDAQ. VTI tracks the entire stock market. Right? That's the total stock market. Now, why do I like these? Okay? I love them because, write this down somewhere, the stock market is rigged to go up 72% of the time. It just does. It goes up 72% of the time. And it's rigged to do so. Right? And if it looks like we gonna crash out, the government will do what it does to pump it back up. What does it do? It's called stimulus. They did it during COVID. They start printing money and sending it to people. Why? Because they want people to spend. Why? Because that's how our economy works. It's based on our spending. This is why Trump is telling you, well, we're going to send y'all $2,000. He's not telling you because the economy is good. He's saying it like the economy is good. No, he's wrecking the economy. So in order to fix what he's wrecking, he wants to send everybody $2,000 because here's what he knows. Nobody's going to put the $2,000 in the market and make money. Everybody's going to take the $2,000 and go spend it and artificially inflate the market again so it doesn't drop. Are y'all with me? Okay, so here we go. Watch this. Boom. This is the performance of VOO since its inception in 2010. Let's look at it, shall we? In 2010, it gave a 14.35% return. In 2011, it gave a negative 0.04 return. In 2012, 14.2. In 2013, 30.42. In 2014, 12.71. In 2015, 0.59. 2016, 9.89. 2017, 19.25. 2018, negative 6.29. 2019, 28.43. 2020, the year of COVID, it gave a 16.73% return. In 2021, a 20.33% return. 2022, negative 23.14% return. 2023, 22.23. 2024, 21.48. And this year, so far, 10.45. I don't even know if y'all understand what y'all really looking at.
I wanted to ask a question. So do you think that in 2022, the reason why it went so bad was because of the stimulus that happened in 2020?
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. All right, check this out. Here are the key details for the VOO since its inception. Inception date, September 7th, 2010. According to one source, from its launch to November 18th, 2025, a $10,000 investment with dividends reinvested would have grown to about $79,275. That corresponds to a total nominal return of roughly 692% over that period. The average annualized return since inception is about 14.54% per year. I don't know if you fully understand what that means. Let me help you. A 5 to 8% return on an investment is considered a really good return. A 9 to 12% return is considered a phenomenal return. This thing is doing 14.54 on average. 1, 2, 3. This one? Okay. So according to one source, from its launch to November 18, 2025, a $10,000 investment with dividends reinvested. So here's what they're saying. If you just took a one-time payment of $10,000 and you put it into VOO, and you never added anything ever, you never touched it, you just left it there, but you turned on what's called DRIP. As a matter of fact, write that down, DRIP, D-R-I-P. So whenever you have an investment account where you're investing in assets, you have an option to do what's called DRIP. And I would recommend you always turn your DRIP on. DRIP stands for Divestment Reinvestment Program. And so what that means is whenever you get any dividends from the stock, a dividend is a part of the profit that a company has that it shares with its investors. So if you have a company that pays you a dividend and you get the dividend, if your DRIP is on, all it will do is take the money and turn it back into buying more shares of that stock. It is called the Dividend Reinvestment Program. Mm-hmm. Dividend Reinvestment Program, okay? And so what they're saying is if you made a one-time payment in 2010 of $10,000, you just dropped it in there and and you set it and forget it. And you came back November 18th of this year, you'd come back to about 80,000 from 10,000 is what they're saying. That's super good. Right? Because imagine if the investment was 100,000. What would it be then? Yeah. You'd be right at about 800,000. Right? And so, which means you could almost retire in California. Okay, here we go. All right? And so here's where I suggest you start. The reason why I would say start here is because what you want to do with VOO is you want to use VOO as your savings account. Right? So all you do is you just open up an account. You can go to Vanguard if you want. Like me and my wife, we just opened up an account at Vanguard under our trust, right? And we'll talk about all that too. But we have a trust. We opened it up under our trust, and I've been doing it in my own account, just buying shares of VOO. But we're about to take our emergency fund and move it totally over to Vanguard, and we're just going to buy VOO, right? Why? Huh? 100% of it. Yeah. Why? Because this thing is given 14.54% on average. Yeah. Yeah. And so the where we have our emergency fund, it's in our credit union, and we're not even getting a percent on that. You know what I mean? And so, and it's been in there for years. If we could, are you serious? If we, listen, my God, if we could have, man, listen, we didn't miss all this here. we didn't miss all this here. Look, watch this. Wait, hold on, watch this. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Listen. Listen. Do you guys know the rule of 72? All right, I'll teach y'all that next. What time we got? Yeah, I got to teach y'all that one next time. Okay. All right. So, but this is why I love VOO. It's the same reason why I love SPY, QQQ, and VTI. The most safest of all of these is going to be VTI, but it's going to grow the slowest. Okay? It's safe, but it's going to grow slow. These two right here, rocket ships. Right? They got more volatility to them, but they ain't going nowhere. Rocket ships. Why? Because this one moves based on how the NASDAQ moves, the tech sector. And the more you read, you will understand for the last 20 to 25 years, the tech sector has driven the entire stock market. There's one tech company right now that is the behemoth of the stock market. NVIDIA. NVIDIA is worth over $5 trillion. It is 8% of the S&P, which means that when NVIDIA moves, the stock market moves. Last night, or not last night, today, they had what we call an earnings call, which meant they reported how they did for the last quarter. They blew out earnings. I looked at my account after market and some of the positions I had in other companies. Because the big boys, after market, went on a buy-in spree. And that's driving prices. So when I get up in the morning, I'm going to take a picture. Because I think I'm going to be over that 13. Right? And so what I'm saying is that when you start getting into it, and again, the more you start reading, the more you start learning, the more you start understanding, you start knowing where to put your money. And so this is where I would start. If you're here and you're saying, okay, but where I got a little bit of money, where do I start? Start with your savings. And the first thing you do is you get your savings out of the bank because you're losing money, and you open up a brokerage account, and then you start buying shares of VOO. And you use VOO as your savings account. It is. It is. So the only thing is, in order to access it, it's not as easy as going to the bank and then pulling out some money. You have to sell shares in order to liquidate it, and then at that point, then you'll have a taxable event, right? Unless, nope, unless you do it in a IRA or a Roth, right? Some kind of retirement vehicle, right? So I'm investing in my Roth IRA or through my Roth IRA. And so far this year I've made over 50, $60,000 in my Roth. And I don't pay any tax on it because it's in a retirement account, and there's no tax on a Roth when you take it out. Okay? The trust is just the vehicle that holds it. Yeah, and so yeah, you still have if it's so we opened up an account at Vanguard in our trust. If we sell anything in there, we're going to have a taxable event. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're saying, I want to make sure I have this because I have two lots.
Oh, okay. Good. Ooh, good.
So I'm a little bit slight on hand
Hmm.
with the Roth and how you're making money with that.
Hmm. So you have to have so what I did was I moved my Roth from Chase to E-Trade. Once I moved it to E-Trade, it became what's known as a self-directed Roth. Okay, so if you want, you can declare. You can probably have them. If it's not, you can have them declare it as a self-directed Roth, which means you can make the choices and move the money in your own account. Yeah, so you can definitely do that. Hmm.
So you're saying you can move it, you can move some of the money from the VOO into your Roth, and then you can take it out from there without having it be a taxable.
Not quite.
No.
You have to. So you have to open up a Roth, fund the Roth, and then purchase VOO from the money from the
So
Roth.
after you purchase the VOO,
Yeah.
say you need it, like you were saying, how do you access it? So then you move it from the VOO to your Roth IRA, then you can take it out of your Roth IRA without it.
When you qualify for retirement. Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, it becomes a taxable event with a penalty. So and you don't want to do that.
Pointing that Roth is after tax dollars.
Yes.
So after tax dollars are different than if you have like an IRA or another investment that qualifies under a
Yeah.
IRS tax penalty.
Right.
You will actually be taxed twice.
Yeah.
Once at takeoff and one take out, and then you will also then be taxed once you do your taxes. So it's double jeopardy basically. So you never want to do that. So
Right.
Roth is only after tax money, but even that after tax money of a Roth, the investment part that you earn in that, if you try to take that part out, which is not your after tax,
Right.
that becomes a penalty as well.
Right.
So you gotta understand the tax implications
Yes.
of your Roth.
Yeah. You want to hold your Roth until it matures, and then when it's time to take it out, there's no taxable event when you're qualified to take it out. That is extremely valuable.
But Pastor, just to backtrack,
Hmm.
to keep it simple,
Hmm.
based on one of your opinions,
Mhm.
suggestions,
Yeah.
that if there's money sitting in a savings account
Hmm.
and I put it into a Vanguard fund,
Yeah.
VOO,
Hmm.
to get it out, I can't. I'd have to sell some shares.
Hmm.
Would you suggest that the money that I'm gaining sitting in the savings account, potentially the money that I'm gaining in the Vanguard, the VOO, I'll have more. I will have some gains. It will have gone up more. So when I take it out
Mhm.
or sell some shares,
Mhm.
I'm still net positive.
For sure. Yeah. And I know what you're asking because I've done the math on it, and this is why we're moving all of ours over there, because even if we put in, it's not a Roth, it's just a regular account. But if I put it over there and we get gains on that money, and then we sell the shares, you don't have a taxable event on the principal, but you do have a taxable event on the gains. But even on the gains, at the rate that the gains are typically given, if you're getting those kinds of returns, whether it is a short term or a long term capital gains hit, you still fare better in terms of what you get paid in return.
And I still got access to my money. I
Yes.
gotta pay tax on the money I made.
Yes, on the money you
I
made.
made some money.
Yeah.
I gotta pay a tax on it.
Yeah.
But it's still more money than if I had it sitting.
100%. 100%. That's why we're moving all of ours over there. Yeah. And so, because I wondered the same thing. So I was like, let me do this math, right? I had to do it, and it was like, oh, yeah, that's easy. All right. So, let me see. Where am I at? Start with an index ETF. Okay, boom, boom, boom. All right, and then here's the last part, and I'll let you guys go. So once you get your index ETF going, right, and you start there, it's safe, you're putting money to the side, right, it's doing its thing, then you want to pick 2 tech stocks, right? And then you pick 2 tech stocks, and this is where you're going to do some extensive reading, learning, understanding what's out there, what's available. You want to pick 2 tech stocks, okay? And the idea is that you purchase the tech stocks, and then you sit. You let them do what they do, okay? Now, there are some guidelines to this, which we'll get into later. There's a way to pick companies, because I know the question is, how do I know which companies to pick? Well, the way you know which companies to pick is you have to learn how to evaluate whether a company is a healthy company or not a healthy company. And I'll have to show you how to do that. Okay? And so, but all I'm doing is just giving you the framework. Okay? So, ETF, and then you pick 2 tech stocks. Now, why 2 tech stocks? Let me show you. You with me? What's the behemoth in the stock market right now? NVIDIA. 5 years, what's their return? 2,400% return for 5 years. If you would have invested with them for 10 years, what's the percentage of return? If you would have invested with them for 15 years, what is the percentage of return? If you would have invested with them 20 years ago, what's the percentage of return? Now, this is not $92,000. This is 92,000%. No, that's 100%, 92,000 times. Yeah. So this is why I'm telling you pick 2 tech stocks, right? And sit on them. Because when you go down, right, you have the majority of these are tech stocks. So NVIDIA, tech stock. Tesla, tech stock. Supermicro, tech stock. Axon, tech stock. Arista, tech stock. Broadcom, over here, tech stock. I made a lot of money off Broadcom last year. AMD, tech stock. Right? I just bought some Netflix, not a tech stock, but it's techie. Monster is good. Amazon is kind of a tech stock. But yeah, so again, tech drives the market. And so here's the thing about investing. You want to be where the market is rewarding people for being. right? Like, why you want to be over there, with the people making widgets? Ain't nobody, ain't nobody rewarding no widgets. You know what I mean? And so you want to be where the market is rewarding, and the market for the last 20 years has been rewarding tech stocks. Okay, and so like again, you can just pick almost any one of these, and if you follow it out from 5 years to 20 years, you can see the rate of returns that you get on some of these companies. Okay, so what you have to do in order to understand these numbers, like you have to figure out if you would have put $10,000. Somebody do the math. So if you can do if you know how to do the math, do the math. If you'd have put $10,000 in Nvidia 20 years ago, just 10,000, what might that be right now? Come on, 92,790. Huh? Yeah.
And you said that was 9,200%. That's 920%.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So it's a $10,000 investment 20 years ago would have made you a millionaire. Right? Just one $10,000 investment if you never added anything to it. Are y'all with me? So this is what I'm saying, right? You want to do the ETF piece because it's stable. Right? That's your stability. It's like a savings, right? And you just but it's a high return savings, right? And it's stable. You ain't got to worry about it too much. It's gonna go down. It's gonna come back up, but it's gonna come back. It's gonna be up way more than it's down. I had a guy came by my house because I told you, I teach this stuff to young people in Vallejo. So one of the guys out there, he came by my house and he was like, Pastor Coleman, I need you to help me set up my account. So I was like, okay. So he came to the house and I helped him set up his account at Vanguard. He got it all set up. He moved a bunch of money over to VOO. Listen, when I tell you I show up to Vallejo every week and this cat, Coleman, that VOO, ooh, right? So he be out there excited about this VOO stuff. So again, these are the opportunities that are there. Okay? That's and we need to learn how to do this. Yes.
What happens if somebody passes away and they had stock holdings and they didn't have a will or trust? What happens to that stock? Where is it in
That's chaos. That's chaos. You have to. It depends on how they handled their stuff. Whenever you set up a brokerage account, you always have what's called a beneficiary that you set up. So if something happens to you, then it goes to somebody else, or somebody is authorized to be able to handle the business for the account. And so for me, I have two beneficiaries. The first one is my wife, and the second one is my daughter. And so they're on everything. And so, but then for us, and we'll talk more about this too, we have what's called a revocable living trust. So everything we do is actually what's called funded in our trust, and there's directions in our trust for what happens with all of our assets. And so, and we may not get to that as a part of this section of classes, but we will offer classes. I probably won't be teaching them, but we will offer classes with professionals who can come in and teach people how to do what we call estate planning. That is extremely important. You have to have. If you listen to me, if you own a home, you have to have a trust. You need one. If you have any assets, you need a trust immediately, like tomorrow.
And you have to tell people.
Yes.
Like, people will have things, like our family members, and you won't know what they have.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to tell, you have to have your group of folks that know where your documents are.
Right.
Know
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta tell people.
That's
Number one problem is people don't know
don't know. Yeah.
you have the investment.
Yeah, and it causes a lot of issues, especially when people get to the point where their mental faculties aren't working as well, and so it is just the earlier you do it, the better, right? And so we'll talk about that later. So, did you guys find this to be informative and helpful at all? All right. All right. So so next week is day before Thanksgiving, so we're not going to do it next week. I'll announce that on Sunday because my wife going to want me to help in the kitchen. So I'm not going I can't be here. Um, but the week after, we'll be right back here and we'll get into part 2. And like I say, where we're headed with it is by the time we get to the end of this series, you guys will have some skills and some things that where you can begin to understand how the stock market works, how to get in there, what companies to pick, all of that. So make sure you bring your thinking caps, make sure you bring something to write on and in, and something to put the papers in. Okay? Oh, wait, hold on. You have homework. You have homework. You got homework. All right? So this you don't have to necessarily bring this back, but you need to know this information. Thank you, Ms. Terry. This is a personal net worth worksheet. Okay? Why is this important? Because you need to know your net worth. If you don't know your net worth, it's going to like knowing your net worth helps you to understand where you need to go investment wise. Right? And so if you're like, oh man, I'm already at the 3 million. I'm doing good. But if you think you at the 3 million and you really like, I'm at 30,000, right? I got to get busy. Okay. So that's your homework. Okay. That is your homework.
Okay, turn your mic on so everybody can't hear me.
Okay.